Welcome back to Trekyards, guys. He is Commander Cockings.
He is Captain Foley.
And we're looking at a ship today. Disco ship. Discovery. For all you people that don't abbreviate. And this is the Locherer? Locherer? Locherer. USS Locherer.
Yes. It's the ship that was able to track down a very slow Terran warp pod where they knew exactly what direction, what speed. But they tracked it down.
They got it.
But, as we've said previously, they've done very few ships. We're going through all the ships and looking at them, even if there's little to look at. At least it is a clear view, although since it is so flat, you miss out, 60% of the ship. But at least we get to see the beautifully crisp textures, and by crisp, I mean I can literally see some textures, the blockiness on the top. They must not be very high textures.
Also, the registry's super hard to read. I know there's a few screen caps from that where I'm like, well, the registry's there. We talked about it in our review. If you zoom in, you can't see NCC, but you can see the number. It's like,
but you see what I mean. If you zoom in on the left-hand side of the main hull, you can see the actual pixels of the texture. They're so blurry. Yeah.
So this is an interesting ship. I mean, we've seen this before, kind of. Another 400-cell ship, much like the Antares. And interestingly enough, you can see where the tractor beam emitter is coming from. So are we to surmise that all of those things on the rim of the ship are in fact tractor emitters or reconfigurable components to be weapons, tractor emitters, pulse things? Because they don't seem like windows to me. Just the weird random layout. Sure, it looks cool. It really does. It does look cool, but it makes almost no sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to visually tell us when they built it, I'm sure, these are windows. And that's before they might have even known the scale. And you could make that make sense for a scale. And in fact, this close, you can kind of see there's a little bit of depth in some of the not-on window lights. But a tractor beam is not going to come out of a window. So that ends that discussion instantly. And you can see there's no interiors, there's no depth. All the windows are random sizes if they're windows, which wouldn't make sense. So they're not windows. You can tell they're not windows instantly. And that Terran medical pod is going to be whatever height. And they're not windows. You can just instantly, they're not windows. So what are they? Now, I like the idea of replicable matter altering tech, but then why would there be 3/4 of them on? Why are they all different sizes? I don't think for a second that there's, 170 different variations of a matter to say, this is a weapon pod. This is a weapon pod with 2% different damage.
As I speculated before, it could be... And this is the future, 800 years in the future.
Mega future.
900 years in the future. So is it programmable matter, like I said, but each quarter, each room, you can change the size of the window to accommodate what you feel like. Floor to ceiling window, smaller porthole window. You want more privacy. You don't want the aliens peeping in. You can just turn it, close it, like blinds. I don't know. It could just be that.
So which officer volunteered to have a tractor beam emitter in their quarters then?
Well, no, those two at the bottom are tractor beam emitters. The ones above them are windows. That's the tractor control room above each one.
Which need windows.
Yeah. It's fine because when you zoom in on it, it's like, okay, I can see maybe what they're trying to do with some of these, but yeah, it's fine. Nobody thinks about these things.
Well, because this is a background ship. Every single one of them are background ships, so they're not put in detail. But yeah, there's no detail on the hull. There's a few little recessed blue lights, which obviously aren't windows, and they just asked whatever. It's all plating. There's no pennants. There's no phaser weapons. And isn't it amazing? You mentioned replicable matter. We haven't even seen it again in any meaningful way since. Look, replicable matter.
Well, they replicated a puzzle piece this season.
Except that, I meant, but in any normal way, it hasn't played any part. There's no console being made. There's no chair after the season of introductions.
I'm still blown away by how the hull looks for being as old, as advanced as it is. I've said this before. TOS tech, it's a smooth, shiny, just smooth hull. Unless you get into Strange New Worlds, but we don't do that because
that's not TOS tech. That's Strange Worlds.
Yeah, that's the new Star Trek kind of aesthetic of ships to be this
gritty,
the blocky,
metallic.
Sooty looking,
less advanced looking is what we're saying.
And we could make the argument that this ship was functioning during post burn. That's fine, so it's not super I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's just
Well,
the way they do things.
I mean, the irony is, if you gave this NX era nacelles at distance, you would say, oh, it's NX era hull plating style.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
You'd link it to that out of all
Less
the eras.
advanced.
Less advanced. It doesn't look TOS, doesn't look TMP, doesn't look TNG, doesn't look Nemesis. It looks NX era. That's a problem. And I think we'd said originally, there is a charm, and this is for season 3, there's a charm to having nothing on the hull that evokes a TOS simplicity. If the hull had been a beautifully clean, clean cream TOS, but with very logical emplacements of tech, to a few little bits and bobs, I would like that more, which would be easier to texture, there's less going on. Although I'm also missing bridge modules and stuff. None of them have anything. So there's just nothing. There's
no problem with that with future tech.
No, but there's just no details. I'm saying, like, the TOS is clean, but every piece on that hull is a thing that does a thing. This has nothing, which means it's just a flat nothing. But let's look at more views, of course, because this ship has basically nothing in the show. So obviously I went to Star Trek Online to find views of the design because you can't see. So this is actually clear views from Stowe.
And this is better.
Yes.
For multiple reasons.
They do tweak things, for sure.
Looks smoother hull. You can actually read the registry. You got a pennant. You could probably have a pennant on the other one. You just couldn't see it. But the windows at the front look like they could be windows. And they also don't extend all the way around. You got those side pieces that kind of
add depth.
Make it feel more like a realistic ship. So I think STO did a good job with these to bring them and make them feel better.
Also, the plating feels like substantially more deliberate.
Yes.
Just by adding lines and now it's gentle plating. There's not everything's a metal line. This has such a better vibe. I mean, it is night and day difference by being almost identical, but it feels so much better.
And you zoom in on those front windows and they feel like windows. Scaling wise, size wise, it's a uniformity. It's
and they're also significantly smaller.
Yeah.
And more of them, because they were told the scale of the ships. Everything's a texture, right? So they presumably scale the texture to match the logic because they want to do things properly. They often fix what's there in Discovery because it's just they have more logic put in on their ships. Yeah, this feels much bigger, much more logical. And then cells are pennants and there's red lines. It is the small stuff, but when there's a lack of anything, small stuff to make a difference. Next view is a back view we didn't get in the other show, of course. Giant shuttle bay and some impulse engines. And of course, it's the Stowe version, so we assume they're the same-ish.
Yeah. Well, that shuttle bays are very reminiscent of Disco's shuttle bay when it's closed.
Yes.
It's almost like older tech. I mean, it's a door. A door is a door, but it's fine. It's fine. Not much else to say there.
Next view is the only other view from the show, which is interesting. Yeah, now I've seen the Stowe one, which had a giant line in the middle. This just looks so much worse in comparison. It's just generic, zero thought plating with a hole in the middle that means nothing, windows that are too glowy and all weird scaling. There's a registry at the back for some... It's just...
Well, it's the ship's name at the back and the registry. Yeah. But there's also a registry at the front, too. You can barely read it.
Why does the game one look more high budget?
I don't know.
Also looks like they've raised a lot of the plating with bump maps and it looks more three-dimensional, the plating, which it wouldn't be.
Yeah, it feels like less advanced tech, you know? I don't know.
Apart from the nacelles.
Well, yes, the nacelles do seem futuristic.
Yeah, if you tweaked maybe 10% of this design, exclude the nacelles, you can make this a Proto-NX ship.
Oh, easily.
You wouldn't think anything of it. I mean, I say ship, it's just a little, like, cone. Like, it's a shape, it's not really a design, you know? That said, there's nothing going on for it to be a design, it's just some shapes, which, you know, if you Voyager Galaxy, like, it's a design integrated. Now let's compare it to other four nacelles in the fleet of the pantheon of the famous Trek four nacellers. How do you think it competes and competes and contrasts? There you go.
I would be perfectly happy to say that this is an 800-year advanced Prometheus class, because it's kind of got that shape and vibe going on, like they did with the Voyager J. You can tell it's in Trek. This kind of has that, just looking at this picture. But yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Well, as I said with our previous reviews, all these other eras of Trek look substantially more high budget. Yeah. And that's the irony, of course. You know, people say, oh, we'll visually update things that don't fit. Well, your ships ain't being, with all this new budget and tech, why are all your ships worse than designs that were done on lower budgets with less time conceptually? Like, if you're complaining about sets all being bad, it's like, well, why are these all bad? I think they had actual ship designers, properly hired designers, properly doing, like, I don't know, maybe pencil, maybe just having to do it in pencil made a difference, because you have to sketch with deliberacy and then get those approved, and it was taking you hours to sketch everything. Versus now in CG, you can just, like, here's a shape in 3D. Do you want it? Okay, the texture done. You don't have to design the small stuff, whereas Rick had to design small stuff, and it didn't have to, but he did, and he wanted to.
Those designers, Johnny, Rick Sternbach, they all thought things out. Like, where the escape pods are, where the weapons are, where the bridge is. And yes, I get that 800 years is a long time. A lot can happen. Plus, you've incorporated more species and whatever and technology into the Federation. So it would be a little different, but it feels, as you said, it doesn't feel designed anymore. It feels like,
shapes.
Here's a ship shape, use it, and then texture it how you want kind of vibe. Whereas the other ones are so thought out and meticulously, like, detailed. I don't know.
It's an art design, but it's certainly one of the ones that will be forgotten and not live up in history, except the nacelles being detached, which will certainly live on in infamy, and then we both absolutely fine with it, but that will be remembered. The designs probably won't be. Although J might have been, had it been seen more than once.
Voyager J?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's our look at this particular ship. Is it one of your favorites? Do you use it in STO? Let us know in the comments section down below. By all means, like the video. We'd really appreciate that. And join us for any lives we do by hitting that subscribe button or clicking the bell notification icon to all, because we do a lot of content here.
We do, Stuart, on all the ships, stations that are in space, and whatnot. If you want to support what we do here, then Patreon. It's a monthly way. Every single thing helps tremendously. Or join the channel on YouTube, again, monthly. Really makes a difference. Or Super Chat on live. Super thanks on a video. Buy a shirt. That's just cool. We get to see our logo out there in the wild. Or just PayPal, trekyards@hotmail.com. Each and all does genuinely help.
That's right. So until next time, he's Commander Cocking.
He's kind of Foley.
See you guys later.
Bye, guys.